Hey, Crucible Arms here. Thanks for joining us today. So you've either bought your first AR platform or you are adding, as I have, adding to your current AR collection. When you do that, of course, you've got a bewildering array of options to choose from. The good news about these platforms is they're, very modular. You can dress them out all types of different ways. The bad news is they're very modular. You can dress them out all types of different ways. So one of the decisions you're going to have to make is what kind of sight system do you want to use? Do you want to use iron sights? Do you want to use a red dot? Do you want to use a variable optic or a fixed optic, magnified? Those are some of the things that you're going to have to think about when you're looking at not only buying the platform, but what type of platform you actually buy. This particular rifle here is what would be referred to as an optical ready carbine, meaning that there are no sights on it, fixed or otherwise. It's got the Picatinny rail, and it's just awaiting you and I to decide what kind of system we want to put on it. So there's going to be advantages and disadvantages to whatever system you decide to go with on your particular AR. In the case of fixed sights, on this we have a standard front fixed sight. I do not have a standard rear fixed sight on this. I've got an MBUS pop-up sight, but let's, for intents and purposes, call this a fixed sight as well. One of the big advantages to having fixed sights is no batteries. Once you get them adjusted and zeroed in, it's pretty much set it and forget it. They tend to be very, very rugged. You can bang them around. They will take a lot of abuse. And you know what? Iron sights are the best way to learn how to shoot. It's the best way to become accurate with your platform before you start graduating onto red dots or optics. Fixed sights also tend to be the most cost-effective by and large. You can certainly spend a lot on fixed sights if you want to, but you generally don't have to. This one obviously is built right into the platform itself, came with the rifle. And you can do the same thing with the rear sight. It can come with the rifle as well. They will also serve you well in the event that you put an optic on later or put a red dot on later and your battery fails or your glass fogs or something. Every rifle, in my opinion, should have a set of backup sights on it, if not initial iron sights to begin with. Another really popular option is to go with flip-up sights, or what are often referred to as backup sights. These are Magpul MBUS flip-up sights that do just what they say they do. They will flip up into place. They have a lot of the advantages that fixed sights do, although they're a little less stable because they are hinged, but really, the movement isn't all that much. I find them to be a relatively stable platform all in all. So you can go with steel or you can go with polymer flip-up sights. Polymer works just fine for me if you're just plinking at the range, doing some tactical training. They work fine. If you're really looking for something that's going to be more rugged, is going to be able to handle the wild better, you can go with steel, but the costs are going to go up as well. The big advantage to having backup iron sights is just that. They can be used as a backup to an optic. So let's say that you want to put a red dot on this particular platform. You can slap this on, utilize it all day long. If for some reason you get into a situation where the battery dies on it and you just quickly need to go to a backup set of sights, you can pop these up. Another option is to do what's called co-witnessing. That would be taking your red dot, or any optic for that matter, mounting it on, having the right height riser that allows you to be able to line up all three sights and use them all simultaneously at the same time. Again, then if your red dot dies, you're literally able to look right through that tube and just pretend that it's not there. Or like I say, you can get rid of it quickly and just go back to your backup sights. So let's talk about the next option, the red dot. We've already discussed it a little bit with the Bushnell TRS-25. This is a very inexpensive but a terrific little red dot. If you're looking to get into the red dot game, these run for about 80 bucks if I remember right, and they work great. It's variable. I've had tremendous luck with this. If you want to get into a higher end red dot, I would strongly suggest EOTech. There's other ones out there as well, aim points, etc. I like the EOTech. These are very rugged, very robust, have a very nice sight picture, and are very adjustable for different lighting conditions. The big advantage to a red dot is the fact that you're not lining up a front and a rear sight. You place that red dot wherever you want the round to go, that's where the round will go, assuming you've got it properly zeroed. So you're not worried about lining things up. You can acquire your targets much quicker. The downside is, they're generally effective from 50 yards in. Now, having said that, I shoot these out to 100, 200 yards all the time. If you're doing it from a bench, it works just fine. but they're really designed more for close quarter combat, where you need to be able to pick up a target quickly, be able to acquire it, and fire on it very fast. And that's where red dot excels. Again, you're not spending the time trying to line up a front and rear sight. You point the red dot and you go. The downside to a red dot, most of them are battery operated. So if the battery dies while you're in the middle of shooting, you're out of luck. You're going to have to go to a backup set of sights. The Tavor, in this case, does have a set of backup sights built into it, and so you can pop those up, you're ready to rock and roll, you're back into action. Having said that, it's not a big deal to carry a spare battery in my mind. So here's an example of a magnified optic. So now you want to get out a little further, you want to stretch the legs. This is a fixed optic, meaning that it's a 4x magnification and that's it. It's not adjustable. We'll talk about a variable later on. But it's a 4x, which gives me, in my mind, gives me a really nice blend. You can shoot 100, 200, really 300, 400 yards. It's got compensation, bullet draw compensation, all the way out to about 800 yards. But it's that nice mix of, you know, you can shoot relatively close, but you can also start to reach out with it a little bit. It's certainly not for your extreme long distance shooting. That's a whole different classification of glass. But for me and what I like to do, this is a great option. It's also a very expensive option. This is the ACOG, made by Trijicon. They've got a ton of different variations and models. This particular one also has a small red dot sight on the top of it, so it's got a little best of both worlds there. It also has its own set of fixed sights on it, which is kind of overkill. I've never really used those. But you know, in the event something were to go wrong with the red dot, in the event that the glass would somehow fog or there was an issue, you do have a set of iron sights on it. But this particular one also has quick throw releases. So in the event that it would die, pull these two levers off. Sorry, trying to do that for the camera. Flip up your black up sight, you're back in business again. So if you can, get it with some type of a quick disconnect system. They vary in terms of quality. You want to make sure that you've got one that's going to be nice and snug so that when you pop it back on, it goes right back to zero. These ARMS quick releases that are on the ACOG, they've got a couple different variations of them, work really, really well. I can pop this on and off and never lose zero. If it doesn't have a quick disconnect system and you're using screwdrivers or your thumbs to get things on and off, A, it can take longer, B, they may not necessarily re-zero all that well. So you may find out that once you've taken it off and you put it back on, you're gonna have to resight it to get it to work well. But if you buy a quality a quality quick release system, they will return to zero each and every time. I've had really good experience with that. So again, the real advantage to this type of a setup is, for my money, you get a really nice blend. Obviously, it's got the red dot on top, so you've got the 50 yards on in. You can go 100 to 400, 500 yards easily with this type of an optic. It doesn't require batteries. The red dot does, but the fixed optic doesn't require any batteries. It's got a tritium insert in it for night. That'll last 10 years before it wears out. There are other versions of this that have other ways of gathering light. But I found this to be an excellent, excellent optic. It's very, very expensive, but to me, it's well worth the money. The last one we're going to talk about today are variable magnification sights. They're very similar, have a lot of the attributes to a fixed magnification sight, but obviously you're able to vary the magnification. On this particular instance, you can go from 2 to a 9x magnification. The downside is you're starting to now put a number of moving parts into the design. So they're not, generally speaking, nearly as robust, okay? More can go wrong. You've got things moving around inside there. They will take less of a beating, generally speaking, than a fixed magnification optic. However, what's really nice is it helps in picking up your targets. A lot of times when you get, like, say, a 10x or even a 16x, a highly magnified optic, it can be very hard to find your target looking strictly through the optic because you're seeing such a tight field of view. When you've got some variable to it, you can start out at a very low magnification, acquire your target, and then dial it in. So it can help you with target acquisition. However, again, because things are moving around inside, they don't tend to be as robust and maybe not quite as precise as a fixed magnification optic. But they're a lot of fun when you want to reach out and touch something. So again, this particular one, I've got a LaRue quick detach mount on it. And that is so that I can get it on and off very quickly. I don't have any backup sights on this platform yet. I'm going to need to get some. The other thing to keep in mind is depending on where you have your eye relief, and the eye relief is simply how far away from the back of the optic you need to be in order to get a nice clear view through the optic itself. Because this one goes over the charging handle, I went with a BCM gunfighter charging handle that has an extension on it. It's easier to grab and get at with gloves because you can run into the back of your sight depending on where you've got it set up based on your eye relief. So just something to think about. It's an additional cost you might incur if you go with that kind of a sight setup. So that's it. It's by no means an exhaustive survey or in-depth study of the different type of optic systems. I just wanted to give you a quick overview, especially for people who are just getting started in AR platforms, or really any platform that's got a Picatinny rail where sights are an option or a choice. Just to give you a quick down and dirty on what some of the advantages and disadvantages to the different styles are. As you can tell, I like them all. I've bought them all. You can spend as much or as little as you want, and in some cases you can get great values on optics for decent prices. Other times, money well spent. So feel free to leave comments down below. I get back to as many of them as I possibly can. Share, like the video, subscribe to my channel if you feel that you learned something today. I'm happy to help. I'm also always learning something new, and you're part of that, so your comments can help inform me as well. With that, I'm going to say thank you very much. I appreciate you stopping by today. This is Crucible Arms signing off. Till next time.